26th at 7 p.m. Clerk Konecki, could you please call the roll?
Trustee Salella?
Here.
Trustee Casone?
Here.
Trustee Murphy?
Here.
Trustee Patrick?
Here.
Trustee Tucker?
Here.
Trustee Wagner?
Here.
President Bolfus?
Here. Let's all rise for the pledge and then remain standing for a short prayer. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Trustee Wagner has a prayer for us.
Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion. Allow us to grow closer as a group and nurture the bonds of community. Fill us with your grace as we make decisions that might affect the residents, staff, businesses, surrounding communities, and all those that enter the village of Villa Park. And continue to remind us that all we do here today, all that we accomplish, is for the pursuit of truth, for the greater glory of you, and for the service of humanity. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. Okay, the next item is public comments on agenda items. Has anyone signed up, or does anyone have any comments on items number 6 through 17? Clerk, anyone signed up?
Yes, I have Kathy Halloran for 7A.
Kathy Halloran, and I live 538 East Wildwood Avenue. So I was going through the agenda today, and I didn't have a lot of time to, but obviously the creation or potential creation of position of assistant village manager seems puzzling to me.
The duties listed sound like the village manager duties to me. And I found it odd that the first characteristic was provide support to the village manager and staff on any matter where threatened or pending litigation exists. That's the first characteristic. Sounds like a lawyer. Why would we need a lawyer?
Right.
Or more than one lawyer? Serves as acting village manager in the absence of the village manager, which I thought that Michael was already the acting village manager in case.
This is just troubling.
And I don't know who proposed it. I don't know where these propositions come from. It's very vague. Considered a request. I don't know. It doesn't say who requested it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
No, I have no one else signed.
Anyone else on agenda items? Okay, seeing none, we'll move down to amendments to the agenda. Does anybody on the board have any amendments? Seeing none, we'll move on to proclamations. The Environmental Concerns Commission will be presenting a 2020 Green Champion Award to Ken Jacobson. And we have Justin here from the chairman of that committee.
Good evening, everyone. As Al introduced, I'm here to present on behalf of the Environmental Concerns Commission our 2020 Green Champion Award to Mr. Kenneth Jacobson. I don't think that I can do it justice in words to account for the amount of gratitude that we have for Mr. Jacobson for his contributions to the Village of Villa Park. For those of you that probably do know him, he has been extremely instrumental in organizing and running our monthly electronic recycling programs. Throughout the years, he was a giant asset to the spring sweeps that we've had the last 2 years, which the third now is upcoming on the 15th of May. So I'm not going to take up any more time. I hope that Mr. Jacobson can, come up, say a few words, and for any other trustees that would like to congratulate him, I would welcome it. But I'd just like everybody to really give Mr. Jacobson a round of applause for his contributions to our village.
I usually like to hide out. I don't like to be in the spotlight with things, but I appreciate that somebody in the village has recognized me and thinks I do something important for town. But thank you for the recognition. Appreciate it. I've been doing this most of my life. I just I grew up as a Boy Scout and then in the military. You always left someplace cleaner than it was when you arrived there. So that's what I do. I try to make the village a little more eye-appealing by picking up stuff and disposing of it properly. I've sort of fallen into doing the recycling operations for the village from Carl Bogenheim and Charlie. I can't remember Charlie's last name, but they ran the drop-off for the village back in the 70s and early 80s, and I took over for them in the late 80s. But they were really instrumental in getting all this going for the village back in birthday in 1970, and I thank them for that. Since I got put out of work in '91 when we went curbside, I started adding street cleaning to my walks in the morning. So I walk where they're picking up garbage, and I just pick it up and dispose of it. Makes it look a little better. But one of the things that I've noticed in the last 2 years is a lot of the stuff that I used to see, some of it I still do, carry out bags from fast food restaurants and cups and things like that, and aluminum cans. And I used to see a lot of cigarette packs until 2 years ago. Almost all of those have gone away to the electronic cigarettes. They actually outnumber all the rest of the stuff that I'm finding nowadays, and I don't understand. They're not recyclable. They won't break down in the landfill. It's sad that people can't just dispose of them properly, I think. I would like to ask the residents of the village, if they can hear me, to think about educating themselves in what is acceptable in their recycling bins and what is not acceptable. Dog cleanup bags are not acceptable, baby diapers are not acceptable, yet I see them all the time. If they'd educate themselves, it would keep our costs down on getting rid of this stuff. If you get a baby diaper or dog poop in with the recycling stuff, that contaminates the whole load with biological waste. So I'd like to ask them to think about what they're doing before it happens. And lastly, I have a question that was just on my mind recently, and I think everybody should think about it. What hasn't the earth given us? And why do we keep taking from it constantly? Think about it. Everything we do, have, breathe, eat, comes from the earth, except we're destroying the earth. So that's all I have. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for the award. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Mr. Jacobson. I'm sure most everybody in town has seen you either, like you say, on your walk picking up or at the recycling center, and they're probably, I wonder who that guy is. So I really appreciate the commission of recognizing you, and thank you again for everything, for helping keep Villa Park green as much as you do. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we'll move on then to the presentation. Proclamation to designate April 30th the National Therapy Dog Animal Day. Village of Villa Park recognizes Pet Partners and the Bright and Beautiful Therapy Dogs, Inc. for their service and therapy and volunteer work within the communities across the United States. And whereas Pet Partners and Bright and Beautiful Therapy Dogs, Inc. has designated April 30th as National Therapy Animal Day. Whereas Pet Partners and Bright and Beautiful Therapy Dogs, Inc. teams with the County of DuPage, Illinois, and the Village of Villa Park play an essential role in improving human health and well-being through human-animal bonding. And whereas Pet Partners and Bright and Beautiful Therapy Dogs, Inc. Teams make millions of visits per year in settings such as hospitals, nursing homes, schools, and hospices. And whereas Pet Partners and Bright and Beautiful Therapy Dogs, Inc. teams interact with a variety of people in our community, including veterans, seniors, patients, students facing literacy challenges, and those approaching end of life. And whereas these exceptional therapy animals that partner with their human companions, bring comfort and healing to those in need. Now therefore, I, Albert Voltheis, President of the Village of Villa Park, do hereby proclaim April 30th, 2021 as National Therapy Animal Day in the Village of Villa Park, Illinois. We encourage our citizens to celebrate our therapy animals and their human handlers. Further, I publicly salute the service of therapy animal teams in our community and in communities across the nation. And I believe we have a therapy dog here. Is that Tiffany? So let's let the people at home see Tiffany. And that's, how old is Tiffany, by the way? How long have you been?
He is 3 years old, and she's been doing therapy work for the last 2 years at Edward at Elmhurst Hospital. We started training when she was 8 weeks old from the lady that I got her from, breeds for comfort dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And many of the dogs have gone on to do that type of work, which is what I hope to do eventually. You have to be a therapy dog team for 100 hours before you're even considered into the comfort dog program. That's a step up from therapy dog work. But I started doing this because both of my parents, when they were sick in the hospital, got the dog visits, and it was the highlight of their day, and I decided that that would be a nice way to honor them.
Good.
And if you'd like, I can show you a couple of quick tricks.
Okay.
Okay, let's see them.
You were the, or Tiffany. Oh.
Well, actually, you know, they say it's me that needs the training, not the dog.
Yeah.
So, yes, all right. Okay, so come on over here. And sit. Stay. We'll try one more. This was the hardest part in getting her certificate, was they put her, no hands, wait, for 3 minutes with a bowl of steak in front of her that she was not allowed.
Oh, wow.
That'd be tough for anybody.
And she did it, and they said, be free, and they went to pick up the bowl, and she snatched the piece. I don't want to tell anybody this story. All right, down. Wait. 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 Good job.
There you go. Thank you. Thanks for coming. Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda. 6A is the minutes from the board meeting held on April 12, 2021. And 6B is the bill listing for the weeks of April 12, 2021 and April 26, 2021 in the amount of $393,313.67. We have a motion for the consent agenda. Trustee Wagner,
I'd like to make that motion.
we have a second.
I'll second
Trustee
that.
Murphy, okay. Any questions? Roll call vote.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Salella?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
President Bolton?
Yes. With that, we'll move on to 7A, which is an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, amending the village code to create a position of Assistant Village Manager. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The village wishes to consider creating the position of Assistant Village Manager. In light of pending staffing changes, there is an opportunity to assemble certain job, tasks, functions under one individual and create the position of Assistant Village Manager. This position would report to the village manager and support the village manager in their absence. Attaches a brief job description for this position. The costs for this position are budgeted within Finance Salaries and Wages Fund account number 10-513-00101. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Again, this is a first reading unless we have someone who Want to make any motion? Yes, trustee Sella.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we waive the second reading on this matter due to the lengthy process of filling this position tonight, and go to a board vote.
Okay, do we have a second? Trustee Kazone?
I'll second that.
Okay. We have to vote on that, right?
Yes,
Okay.
vote on waiving.
Wait, okay, so we need any comments on the motion to waive the second reading? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote on the waiving.
Okay, trustee Patrick,
Yes.
trustee Murphy,
Yes.
trustee Tucker,
No.
trustee Wagner,
No.
trustee Kazone,
Yes.
trustee Salella,
Yes.
President Bolfus.
Yes. Okay. So then we're open for discussion on,
Motion for second reading.
we need a motion for the second reading. We have a motion? Trustee Ciala?
I'll make a motion.
Okay. Do we have a second? Trustee Kazone?
Second.
Any questions? We have a motion, so now we have a discussion on the item. Trustee Wagner.
Thank you, President Bolfus. Just for the purpose of educating the staff, educating the residents, this position will not result in an increase in headcount because we will eventually be losing a key staff person, which this position will take over most of those responsibilities for. And just to answer the question,
Maybe you want to remove your mask, Bob.
Sure. So, just once again, this will not create an increase in headcount because a key staff person is leaving. The assistant village manager will take over a lot of those duties of that person. And the impetus from this came from the village board. So, just to answer that question.
Okay.
It's not going to replace the manager, but it's going to be taking on the duties of a staff person that will eventually be retiring, is my understanding.
That's correct, so.
And that's all I had.
I just wanted to add, when we were reviewing the manager's employment and his employment contract, we went over in executive session his job responsibilities and all the items and issues that he has to handle with every day, and the consensus of the board was that maybe we need to have a discussion, that's why we're here tonight, about creating the position of assistant village manager, because the workload for the manager is getting more intense every year, and this last year was especially, year and a half was especially rather time-consuming, and we were sometimes concerned about maybe some items that maybe should have a little more of attention, or maybe getting put on the side a little bit. So, we were also concerned about the pressure he's under with some of the things with COVID and riots and all different kinds of items, and keeping the budget balanced. So we were concerned for him being overloaded, and the consensus at that time was for us to look into hiring a assistant. And then shortly after that discussion, like Trustee Wagner said, we had a key employee as retiring, and in June, and we figured, well, then this assistant manager would be able to take over some of that responsibility. Some of that retiring employees' responsibilities are being shifted over to someone else, but the more intense ones would be covered by the new assistant manager if the board decides to go that route. So, and we did have like I said, a job description posted, what the assignments would be, and we also basically, like Trustee Wagner said, the financial impact to the village will be minimal because of the salary of the assistants will be comparable to the retiring manager. So, anyone else? Trustee Tucker.
Okay.
I have a few issues with this ordinance. I talked to, I did some research and I talked to 5 other non-home rule villages on this. And the discussion I had with them is that half of them, the hiring of the assistant village manager, the interview and whatever was done by the board and the president manager and the administrator made, the assistant manager made the which isn't in here. Okay. The other thing is all 5 of the villages I talked to, their assistant village managers or one of them's deputy manager, all of them had a master's. They all had a master's, not just a bachelor's degree and 5 years experience. Their descriptions, and I got their descriptions, that they all were qualified. They had the course, they had the a bachelor's degree, but all the 5 districts I talked to, their assistant manager also had a master's degree with not less than 5 years experience. So I feel that if we're going to look for an assistant village manager, we should have equal qualifications for us also. That the person we're looking for should have a master's and at least 5 years experience in the field. Also, each one of those towns or residents, their assistant manager job description was listed so that the people of the village knew exactly what the assistant manager's job description was and what they were required to do. And I do think that's kind of important for transparency, that if we're going to put the job description in, that they should know, as was pointed out. I mean, the thing in here lists a job description that sounds like we're having the assistant village manager do the manager's job. So I believe that it would be for transparency that we should list the powers and duties under there, that it should be listed what the assistant manager is going to be doing, so they understand that the manager does a totally different job than the assistant manager will be doing. So it's kind of understandable that.
May I reply?
Yes.
Okay. The memo you received, you recognize this one?
I do recognize that.
You recognize the last page? It says minimum experience and training requirements. It says right on there, 5 years experience in comparable management or specialty positions and a master's degree.
I understand that, but it's not listed on an ordinance.
It doesn't have to be on the ordinance, right?
It should be on the ordinance, the same thing.
No, it shouldn't.
Well, the ordinance just states that possible bachelor's degree in public administration or related field of 5 years or experience in a comparable management thing. That means the person doesn't have to have a master's according to our ordinance.
Well, that's going to be the requirement because that's what we have on the sheet. So,
doesn't the ordinance
as far as
have
your
to follow it?
your second question about some of the communities you talked to, you said that your first comments about who
interviewed them, yes.
Who interviewed them. Okay, those probably have a strong mayor form of government, where we have a strong manager form of government. Now, if you got when you became trustee, you received a book about this thick with
correct, and I compared them.
And you got this page in there, and it says under the manager form, which we are, the council or board's powers is purely legislative, except that it is empowered to approve all expenses and liabilities of the municipality. The manager is both the administrative and executive head of the government. For example, if the city or village was governed by form, Article 3 of the Municipal Code at the time it adopted the manager form, the manager appoints and removes all officers not required to be elected. So that's not an elected position. Now, maybe back in 2019, you got this memo from Ansel Glink. And this is a separate law firm who lays out all the responsibilities of the manager. And again, on that, it appoints and removed all department directors based on merit and fitness, which this assistant would fall in that category. So basically what I'm saying, so we've got a lot of stuff over the years about our form of government. The village board's job is a legislator. We direct the manager what to do. Anyone else on staff reports to the manager. That's our form of government. We have a strong manager form. We can't change the state law. That's the state law. That's the law that we have here. That's the form of government that was voted in by the residents of Villa Park numbers of years back. So this person works for the manager, not for this board.
My question wasn't for that. My question was the interviewing process for
Again,
this person.
the manager hires all the other employees. This is one, he does the interviewing. We don't interview the community development director. We don't hire the police chief. We don't hire the fire department. We don't hire the Parks and Rec director. The manager does the interviewing and the hiring. That's the form that we're set up in.
So you're applying that the assistant village manager would be in the same category as a department head?
Yes. Anyone else? Okay. Seeing none, roll call vote.
Okay, trustee Murphy,
Yes.
trustee Wagner,
Yes.
trustee Patrick,
Yes.
trustee Salella.
Yes.
Trustee Kazone,
Yes.
trustee Tucker,
No.
President Bulfus.
Yes. That passes, and we're going to try to fill that position as soon as we can, seeing that the retiring employee is leaving on June 15th, I believe. So we like to get them trained. So, and we have to advertise. We advertise for the positions. So. Okay, we'll move on to item number 8A. An ordinance of the Village of Villa Park amending water and wastewater rates and charges. Manager Keenan.
Thank you, Your Honor. Stanley Consultants was selected to perform a water and wastewater rate study for the village at the October 12, 2020 board meeting. The focus of the study was to analyze the fees charged in both water and wastewater utilities to ensure that the village will have enough revenue to fund the daily operations and the planned capital improvements that are identified in the village's capital improvement plan. The rate study projected expenditures for both water and wastewater utilities for the next 5 years, including the anticipated cost for low-interest loans for capital projects. Overall, the recommendation was to raise rates for water usage, water customer charge, sewer usage, wastewater customer charges, combination sewer charges, and the backflow prevention devices, also known as the RPZ's program fee. The proposed rates will increase the monthly cost for Villa Park residents. The proposal will increase the monthly cost for water by approximately 75 cents a month for an average family and 70 cents a month for wastewater charges. In reviewing neighboring communities, the proposed water rate will be slightly higher than the average rate for neighboring communities in 2021 by 72 cents a month, but the wastewater rate is lower than the average rate by $3.83. It should be noted that the wastewater rate does not include Salt Creek Sanitary District treatment charges. These are proposed rates, and the village board may elect alternate rates. Any reduction in rates will have a direct impact on the completion of the capital plan, as there will not be sufficient funding for all planned future projects for repayment of low-interest loans. This will further delay improvements or projects will have to be removed from the capital plan at the board's discretion. Thank you, Your Honor.
Do we have a motion for the second reading? Trustee Wagner,
I'd like to make that motion.
do we have a second?
A
Trustee
second.
Ciela? Any questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Trustee Patrick,
Yes.
Trustee Kazone,
Yes.
Trustee Tucker,
Yes.
Trustee Murphy,
Yes.
Trustee Salela,
Yes.
Trustee Wagner,
Yes.
President Bolus.
Yes. That passes, and we'll move on to an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, amending the Villa Park Municipal Code relating to immobilization of motor vehicles and fines for immobilization. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The police department has identified approximately 26 vehicle owners with multiple unpaid parking tickets. Attempts to collect unpaid parking fines through notices, adjudication, and collections have been ignored. The top 5 offenders owe the village a cumulative total of $59,062.50. Staff consulted with the village's attorney and adjudication hearing officer to provide guidance that would be used to create a more understandable and enforceable vehicle immobilization code. Attached is a copy of the village's existing code containing highlighted text illustrating the proposed revisions. Staff recommends approval of this ordinance. Thank you, Your Honor.
Do we have a motion for the second reading? Trustee Kazone.
President, I'll make that motion.
Second, Trustee Wagner.
I'd like to second that motion.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the board? Trustee Wagner?
Thank you. I did read the memo and the proposed changes, but I do have one question. Are we able to immobilize a vehicle that's not within our jurisdiction?
No.
No.
No. Okay. That's all I had.
Okay. Anyone else? Seeing, Trustee Tucker.
I just want to understand that our jurisdiction means if this person does not live in Villa Park, we can't
No,
do anything, right?
the car has to be in Villa Park. The automobile has to be in Villa Park. If
Okay.
your automobile is booted because you're not parking and you do not live, your automobile is here.
Okay, so if an owner actually lives in Oak Park, but the violations are all in Villa Park, we can still
No.
do this thing? No.
We
Okay.
have to have 5 parking tickets. We don't know what parking tickets Oak Park has against
No,
us.
no, I mean, if they have 5 parking tickets
Yeah, they
in
work
our
here, so they have
town,
5 here, we can
if they
do them.
have 5
Yeah.
tickets in our town, but they're not a resident of Villa Park, we can
Yes.
still enforce this, correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay.
Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Salela,
Yes.
Trustee Murphy,
Yes.
Trustee Patrick,
Yes.
Trustee Tucker,
Yes.
Trustee Wagner,
Yes.
Trustee Kazone,
Yes.
President Bolus.
Yes, that passes, and we'll move to 8C, which is an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, amending the village code regarding persons eligible to hold liquor license. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The village board is considering modifying section 3-309 of chapter 3, article 3 of the Villa Park Municipal Code so that village code is similar to the requirements of the Illinois Liquor Control Act of 1934. This ordinance will allow certain elected officials under certain conditions to hold a liquor license. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Do I have a motion for the second reading?
I'll make the
Trustee Ciela?
motion.
Do we have a second? No second?
Mr. President, I'll second it.
Okay, okay. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions from the board? Trustee Murphy.
Yes, I have no problem. I believe that it's paragraph 20 that we're revising tonight, and I have no problem with personally approving that change. However, I would like to propose that we follow up that ordinance, the entire ordinance, for cleanup in comparing our municipal ordinance to the state statute. There are a couple key paragraphs that have not been carried over from the state statute into the municipal ordinance that I feel are pertinent and relevant, and our numbering sequence has subsequently gone out of alignment with the state statute. So I would like to see this put on a follow-up for potential cleanup.
Okay, so yeah, you're looking for the review of the whole code to make sure it goes in line with the state code. Okay.
Exactly, thank you.
So, We'll, the new board will take that under advisement.
It could be read two different.
Okay.
Thank you.
No.
Anyone else? Seeing none, roll call, please. Oh, wait a minute. Do you have a question?
Was that a motion to table?
No, there was not a motion to table.
What are we voting on?
We're not. We're voting on the original ordinance. Correct? Trustee Wagner?
Yeah, thank you. I'm intending to vote for this ordinance, but after reading it, I don't think it solves the problem. Because the hang-up that I have is with the word incidental. Fuel and crumb, especially in the winter months, when they're not serving ice cream or gelato or food, the majority or the great percentage of their revenue is coming from alcohol. So I don't see how this solves the problem. I did, like many of us, looked at the high-profile cases in St. Charles and Oak Brook, and there were solutions there, especially in Oak Brook. Apparently, the person in question who was elected to their board divested himself of the interest in, the liquor license to a management company. So I'm going to vote for this because I think it's a good change, but I don't think it solves the particular problem that we want to solve. And I hope that there will be enforcement of our codes with respect to this. I think there were other alternatives that would have remedied this problem that were not, for whatever reason, were not pursued. But I will be voting for this, and that's all I have.
Okay. Anyone else? Trustee Cazone?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we just remove that section, that statement out of there, that sale of alcoholic liquor pursuant to the license is incidental to the selling of food. I mean, that solves our problem.
No.
I'd like to make that motion.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second to strike. Wait.
Sorry, go ahead.
To strike sale I, right?
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
Sale of alcohol, liquor pursuant to the license is incidental to the selling of food. Now we can have discussion. Trustee Wagner.
I just wanted to so we're striking item I.
Right. I of number 20, the sale of alcoholic liquor pursuant to the license is incidental to the selling of food.
That's
the motion. Trustee Murphy.
Yes, I am adamantly opposed to that. Our whole objective was not necessarily to resolve an existing problem. Our objective was to realign our municipal code with the state statute, and those 4 conditions are all a part of the existing state statute. I am adamantly adverse to removing that line item. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Trustee Tucker.
My question is that I approached you last time and you asked on the incidental sales food what I would add to it to keep it. And I did have a discussion with several things on that, and seeing the individual will not go that route. There was a recommendation that we would do, which makes it cumbersome for both the village and the business, but the recommendation was that there would be a monthly or a quarterly tally, and the food would be totaled by item sold compared to the items sold for alcoholic beverages instead of percentages. And they rolled out a percentage, which they said 10% is what a lot of them are using as their guidelines for the other villages that I talked about. Somebody said 15 or 20, but that's way too much for not a business that's not a restaurant. That's too cumbersome to say it, but they recommended that the easiest way to verify that, if you kept it in the village statute, that would give some type of guidelines for the enforcement, whether it's the liquor commissioner or the village itself, village or town itself, would be to do the total of food items compared to the total of liquor sold. because it wouldn't be a pricing thing, and it wouldn't be a total on that way. It would show the total difference between the items. And that could give you a definite percentage. What that percentage is, I mean, that would have to be decided fairly. Most of them said 10%, but would be a good guideline.
Okay, well, we'll have to see if we get there, because the motion right now is to strike I in number 20.
Well, if you
So-
strike I, then you're changing the state statute.
Well, you are and you aren't. It depends on how you want to interpret that word incidental. Trustee Murphy?
Yes, if we vote to remove that line item, I'll be changing my vote on that entire issue, and as opposed to voting yes on changing paragraph 20, I will be voting no. And I will want to leave that as no trustee can hold a liquor license. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else on the amendment, the motion for the amendment? Okay, so seeing no other comments, we'll have a roll call vote on the amendment to strike I, which is the sale of alcoholic liquors pursuant to the license is incidental to the selling of food. So roll call vote on that.
Okay. Trustee Patrick?
No.
Trustee Wagner?
No.
Trustee Salella?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
No.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
No.
President Bolthus?
See, I have to
You
make
may
up
not
my
be-
mind.
you don't have to vote.
I don't have to vote.
You don't
so
have to
I
vote.
won't.
You don't have to.
I'll take a pass on that one.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're back to the original motion, okay? So what we have in front of us. So, any questions, any more questions and comment on the original motion?
So my question is, could I change that before we
You
vote on it?
can
or-
make a specific recommendation.
I'm making a recommendation that we have some type of,
No, that's not gonna work. Some
Okay.
type isn't gonna work.
okay, there's on a monthly basis that we take it, to total food items would have to be 10% more than alcoholic beverages. Would that be,
Makes sense? So you're making the motion that the food sales has to be,
Not sales. Items have to be
Items.
10% more
Food
than the
items.
bar.
how the heck are we gonna keep
I
track of
don't
that?
know.
it's a tally system.
How are we gonna keep track of that?
By, they monthly, any business.
Okay, I
keeps
sold
track of-
5 boxes of french fries and 1 pickle and 6 maybe whatevers, you know.
They-
How are we gonna do that?
Just the same way you did. You keep a tally of what food goes out. I mean, if you do a tally of the food, any business takes a tally of what food there is for inventory. So they know basically what they sell. You're talking ice cream items and sandwiches and soup type items. You want some type of a credibility of that they're following.
How can we word that?
I don't know, because is it per order? Is it, so you go in and you order 10 ice cream cones, is it a 10, or is it a 1 for one order?
Did you hear that?
I heard you.
So,
Yeah, it would be, if you're
is it
talking.
10 ice cream cones or 1 order of 10 ice cream?
No, you'd be talking a number of, you'd be talking a number of the items. I mean, it'd be 10 ice cream cones.
We're talking 10 ice cream cones.
Yes, if we're trying to make credibility of what it is, if you cut it down to how many orders it is, then you're making it even, you know,
Yeah.
I think that's enforcement, difficult enforcement, but,
I don't know how we're gonna enforce something like that, or maybe we ought to just take a vote and see if we want it.
okay.
Trustee Ciala.
I just want to remind everybody, we're not talking about one business, you're talking village-wide.
Yes.
correct.
Where is the manpower coming from to tally all this? It's a monumental project. Monthly? I don't see it working.
Trustee Patrick?
I just want to say for the record that I am in favor of passing the ordinance as it's written in the agenda this evening.
Well, I guess the question is that Trustee Tucker has made a motion, right? Did she?
She makes it in the form of a motion.
Can you make it into a form of a motion? I
I
move.
just kind of want to know how we're
No,
going to...
no, no, I kind of
Okay.
want it.
Yes, okay.
I need you to make it in a form of a motion.
I'm making a motion that we need to have some way...
No some ways.
Okay, I'll make a motion that they basically have to keep account of food items compared to alcoholic items, so we have some type of trace for this.
That's not gonna fly. You gotta be a little more specific. You want total food items, 10%? Put something in there.
Okay, they have to have 10% of food items more than alcoholic beverages sold.
No, that's not the right way to say it. So,
Alcoholic beverages, first of
so 10% of, well, I'm not gonna make the motion for you. You have to make a motion that we all can understand. Okay. So you want 10% of the sales has to be 10% more, was it?
Basically, I wanted to tell her
non-alcoholic
that
sales
we
have to
have,
be 10% more than
Alcohol. sales.
alcohol.
How's
No,
that?
but it's not sales, you're
No,
wrong.
it's not.
it's not sales, it's items.
No,
Right.
that's,
How does a businessman take care of it?
I don't know how anybody's gonna keep track of that, tell you the truth, so.
I
So.
don't think we need.
So, I'm still waiting down here.
I understand. I'm
Well,
still
while you're
trying to
thinking,
figure
does
out-
anyone else have any comments on the original motion? That's where we're still waiting on. Any other comments? Trustee Wagner?
Due respect to Trustee Tucker, I think where she's going is kind of, I think the words cumbersome is appropriate and also onerous. So I wouldn't be in favor of that.
My sense is, trustee, you don't have any support up here.
I understand. I just wanted some type of way to
I agree.
assist the village on that one line, but
Yep. Well, seeing that we don't have anything, we're gonna stick with the original motion. So, any comments on the original motion? That's to leave it as it is, okay? No other comments? Okay, let me get my tally sheet here. Okay, then we'll have a roll call vote on the original items shown in our minutes.
Second reading.
Second reading,
Thank you.
roll
Okay,
call.
and who were our first and second?
Pardon me?
Was it Cazone, Silella and Cazone? Who were the first and
Oh.
second? Because I've got that only for the remove,
Trustee Ciala made the, you seconded
I
it?
second.
Okay, who made the,
No, I think you did the first.
For your,
No,
taking,
for the actual ordinance.
oh, I.
okay, I think one of you two guys.
Dave was the
I was
first, I
first.
was the
Okay,
second.
Dave was the
I
first
thought we were
and
talking
Nick
about
was
your-
the second.
Your amendment.
Okay,
okay.
all right. So-
Okay, trustee Murphy,
Yes,
trustee Patrick,
Yes.
trustee Wagner,
Yes.
trustee Tucker,
I abstain.
trustee
You can't- You
Silella.
can't,
Yeah, I'm not voting either way.
but you got to vote. Does it go with the
She
majority?
could vote as present and it will go with majority.
Vote
Okay.
present then.
All right,
Aye. Trustee Silella.
Yes.
Trustee Cazone,
Yes.
President Bolfus.
yes. So that item passes. And we'll move on to item number 9A. Ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, establishing temporary executive powers pursuant to Chapter 8, Article 3, Section 8-301 to 308 of the Villa Park Municipal Code, 65 ILCS 5/11-1-6 of the Illinois Municipal Code, and 20 ILCS 3305-11 of the Illinois Emergency Management Act. This ordinance extends the temporary executive powers contained in ordinance number 4214, approved by the village board on April 12, 2021, until such time that the village board can reconvene in open session. Do we have a motion for the ordinance? Trustee Kazone?
President, I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
A second.
Trustee Ciala? Any questions? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Salela?
Yes.
President Volkes?
Yes. With that passes, and we'll move on to 10A, which is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving a contract with John Neary Construction Company, Inc. of Addison, Illinois, for construction of the 3rd Ave Improvement Project, Holly Court to Division Street, in the amount not to exceed $948,907.95. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The 3rd Avenue Improvement Project, Holly Court to Division Street, scope of work includes new storm sewer to achieve combined sewer separation, sanitary sewer lining, some sidewalk removal and curb replacement, parkway restoration, and other related and incidental work efforts. The project was advertised for bids on February 19, 2021, and bids were opened on March 16, 2021. The project received substantial interest and received 9 bids for the construction of the project. John Neary Construction Company, Inc. of Addison, Illinois submitted the lowest bid. This project will receive a $400,000 reimbursement through DuPage County's Community Development Block Grant Program. Costs for this project have been budgeted in the Street Improvement Water Supply Fund, Wastewater Operations Fund, and Wastewater Sewer Separation Fund accounts. Staff recommends awarding the construction contract to John Neary Construction, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $948,907.95. Thank you, Your Honor.
Do we have a motion for the resolution? Trustee Wagner?
I'd like to make that motion.
Do you have a second?
I'll
Trustee
second
Murphy?
that.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Trustee Tucker?
On the contract part of it, it doesn't say when they're gonna start and finish, but the 10B, I take it, is in relationship to it, which does have a time frame. Are we running in the same time frame for both?
I would say yes.
Yes. Okay. And do we have some type of contract set up or donor contract set up that if they don't do it in a timely fashion, that they have some kind of obligation?
Yes, there's always terms in there, but then again, sometimes there's issues that come up that we have to look at where we're, we didn't expect an issue to come up, and so that may put a length, the time that he's allowed, but there is time constraints, yes.
I just don't want what happened in Michigan to
Yeah.
happen again. That's why
Well-
I'm asking, do we have some type of contract to say they're going to get it done in a timely fashion?
Yes, that's
Yes,
in the contract, but again, we don't know if something comes up, so, and then that'll have to be discussed and extend the time. Anyone else? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Salela?
Yes.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
President Volkes?
Yes. If that passes, and we'll move to 10B, which is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving an engineering service agreement with Edwin Hancock Engineering Company of Westchester, Illinois, for Phase 3 construction engineering for the 3rd Avenue Improvement Project, Holly Court to Division Street, in the amount not to exceed $101,671.50. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The 3rd Avenue Improvement Project, Holly Court to Division Street, was advertised for bids on February 19, 2021, and bids were opened on March 16, 2021. The scope of work includes new storm sewer to achieve combined sewer separation, sanitary sewer lining, some sidewalk removal and curb replacement, parkway restoration, and other related incidental work efforts. This resolution will approve a contract with Edwin Hancock Engineering Company of Westchester, Illinois for Phase 3 construction engineering, which includes pre-construction coordination, shop drawing review, construction observation and documentation, survey verification, inspection of traffic control and erosion control, measurement and computation of pay items, preparation of pay estimates, and preparation of record drawings. Staff recommends approval of this engineering services and agreement in an amount not to exceed $101,671.50. Funding for this agreement will be taken from street improvement non-referendum funds, water supply, wastewater sewer separation funds, and wastewater operations. Thank you, Your Honor.
You have a motion for the resolution. Trustee Patrick?
I'd like to make that motion.
You have a second? Trustee Kazone?
I'll second that.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Salela?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
President Volkes?
Yes. That passes. We'll move to 10C, which is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing the execution of an intergovernmental grant agreement with the State of Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity for grant funding for the construction of the Michigan Ave Improvement Project. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The 2019 State of Illinois Capital Bill included an appropriation in the amount of $550,000 to the Village of Villa Park for road improvements. Staff submitted an application to use this grant funding for the construction of the Michigan Avenue Improvement Project. After reviewing and processing the application, the DCEO has now formally awarded the grant funding to the village. An agreement between the village and the DCEO is necessary in order to formally accept the grant award and receive the funding. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Do you have a motion for the resolution? Trustee Wagner?
Can I make that motion?
We have a second. Trustee Tucker?
I'll second that motion.
Any questions or comments? Trustee Wagner?
Very quick question. In the staff memo, it says the State of Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity staff reached out to the village in February 2020 to request the village submit a grant application. What was the impetus for that? Did we have an elected official who kind of tipped them off to this? How did that happen?
Yes, Michael. I'd love to take credit for that,
Okay.
but I didn't do it.
So these there's actually two items on the board, and they're both in conjunction. They were part of the state capital bill that included the listing of these projects. And at that time, these projects related to some of the bonds that the state issued. So as those bonds come up, certain programs or certain projects get funded. And these two, we do the lucky numbers and got funded. And that's why we advanced the projects last year. But it did take a long time with everything to get these grants from application to agreements. But that's how they came about. It was listed on the legwork from the city manager and other staff to get them listed into the state capital bill.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Let me just follow up a little bit. You know, I get emails, and Manager Keener gets emails. Matter of fact, I got one last week from Representative Krishnamurthy about this funds for that might be coming down the road with the passing of the Rebuild Act in Washington, wanting us to supply them with projects. So usually I get those, and the manager gets them. Just in case he doesn't, I forward them on to him. And a lot of times, so you know, part of the pressure he gets under then is that they want it by tomorrow. You know, they sent the email today and they want the reply by tomorrow. So then he has to contact Michael. We have to put all kinds of dollars to the request, you know, and then we have to prioritize them. So that's not an uncommon thing that happens, that we get contacted directly from them or from the commission in DuPage County, who has money that comes for street repairs. So community development block grants that, you know, a lot of times they need it within a week. Matter of fact, we're probably working on some information now for lead pipes, you know. So, and that's another one that I think it's Thursday.
Yes, it is.
We have to talk to Krishnamurthy's office. We have a call set up with them, listing a number of projects. So, looking to see if, as I understand it, each congressman might be allotted X number of dollars for their district. So he's reached out to us and our other communities in his district, and we send it in and prioritize them. So,
Thank you.
A lot of times they contact us and stuff. Trustee Murphy.
Yes, thank you. I would just like to thank and congratulate all of our staff or anyone that's been involved in these grant opportunities that afford us the luxury of supplementing our funding and moving these projects forward expeditiously as we possibly can. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. This is a reminder to me, we've got quite a few number of grants this past year. And, you know, we've made contacts with DuPage County and our representatives to, and it's been paying off. So the new board can, president can continue to work on that so that we don't lose those contacts. So, and we also have some people on county staff, commissions that we're there and, you know, we have a face there at the table. So that helps a lot too. So, any other questions? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Salella?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
President Boltus?
Yes, that passes, and we'll move down to 10D, which is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing the execution of an intergovernmental grant agreement with the State of Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity for grant funding for the construction of the Plymouth Street Improvement Project. Andrew Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The 2019 State of Illinois Capital Bill included an appropriation in the amount of $733,500 to the Village of Villa Park for the Plymouth Street Improvement Project. Staff submitted an application for the funding to the DCEO in July 2020. After reviewing and processing the application, the DCEO has now formally awarded the grant funding to the village. An agreement between the village and the DCEO is necessary in order to formally accept the grant award and receive the funding. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Trustee Patrick?
I was going to make a motion.
Need motion.
Oh, no. Okay, yeah, we gotta have a motion. Trustee Patrick. Okay.
I'd like to make that motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Trustee Sella, a second. Now, do we have any questions or comments? Okay. Seeing none, roll call vote.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Salella?
Yes.
President Boltus?
Yes, that passes, and we'll move down to 10E, which is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, designating a Freedom of Information Officer. Andrew Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The village has appointed 2 individuals as Freedom of Information Officers in order to meet the requirements of Public Act 096-542. In light of recent staffing changes, it is recommended Amy Raphael, confidential executive assistant to the village manager, be appointed to the second position. The other position is occupied by Janet Gorman, human resource manager. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Trustee Wagner.
I'd like to make that motion.
I did it again, huh? I'm in a hurry today. Trustee Patrick, second?
I'd like to second. Thank you.
Okay. Now we'll do questions and comments. Trustee Tucker.
Is there any number that we can have of FOIA officers, Freedom of Action officers?
2.
That's the number we
That's
can
it.
only have? No, my question is, could you have 3 or 4?
2.
2's the maximum you can have?
Yep.
Okay.
Any other questions? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Trustee Salella?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
President Boltus?
Yes. That passes. We'll move to 10F, which is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving the village manager's employment contract. Do we have a motion for the resolution?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Murphy, do we have a second? Trustee Kazone?
I'll second it.
Any questions or comments? Trustee Wagner.
Thank you, President Boltus. I'd like to make one change, minor change to this. In the contract, it says that we're to review the manager in April. That seems to me like a vestige of our old fiscal year system where we ended April 30th. And there was also some discussion that April-May tends to be a transition period when we have consolidated elections. So I'd like to suggest, I'd like to make a motion that we change the review of the manager to December.
So
Because
you,
it's more in keeping with our fiscal year.
so you want to change his contract to a calendar year, right?
I want to change well, it states the review is to take place in April.
Okay.
I want to change it to the review takes place in December.
Oh, okay, so you're,
But the term is,
so the term of the contract is still the same, it's just the section on
Right.
the review.
Exactly.
Okay, which section is that?
that is section 16, I believe. Bottom of page 4, section 16. The issue is, though, what is the term of the contract? And the term of the contract has the change in salary effective as of May 1. We never changed the term of his contracts. So to review it in December, it would be either retroactive to the prior May or not commence until the following May, unless we change the term of the contract. Yes.
Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yet, even though we switched to a calendar year, fiscal year, all raises, all increases for employees are effective to May 1. That's non-union, that would be all the union contracts as well. We did not switch the May 1 wage increments. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. So we have that motion, but we haven't gotten the second yet, I don't believe, did we?
I will second.
You did second, okay, I'm having trouble with this. So,
Who was the second?
Patrick,
Petra?
so we have a motion,
But the question,
But, yeah.
the question would be, if we reviewed in December and employee contracts and raises are effective of May 1, would you review in December for a salary determination to commence May 1?
I think so. Well, there frequently, it's been my experience while on the board, that, and I don't want to talk out of school here, but the reviews don't necessarily take place on a timely basis for a variety of reasons.
True.
And I think that a December review would be more workable for the reasons I suggested.
I will defer to the manager, but December is a very, very difficult time because it's a time we would do all salaries. And I understand your point, his point well made, that we never seem, the board never seems to finish the review when you intend to finish the review. But that would put the manager on a different time schedule and review rate than all other village employees.
yeah, we're deep into budgeting then too,
Yeah.
so. Okay, any other questions?
So you want to vote on the amendment? Is that-
Yeah, we have a first and a second on the amendment.
Okay.
So, seeing no other questions, that was to change the date of the review.
So this is just on the amendment, not on the main question?
That's just on the amendment,
Okay?
right? Okay. So, with that, does everybody understand? Yes, trustee Murphy.
Yes, my only question, if I'm understanding correctly, it sounds like I would be in favor of changing the date. However, if I'm understanding our conversation, it's sounding like in light of that, we would be wanting to consider changing the dates for all of the staff as well, and that gets very complicated. So that being the case, I would be in favor of what Trustee Wagner's asking, but if it's going to overcomplicate the circumstance, then I would just say leave it.
My
Thank
sense
you.
is it's going to make things a little harder, so. Trustee
Don't make harder.
Tucker's got her hand up.
My understanding is that, as Manager Keener stated, that all the contracts end April 30th and the new contracts start May 1st. That's throughout the village, correct?
Well, it's not
So
contracted, so-
basically changing your review, you still have a contract that would go in effect April 30th, end April 30th and begin May 1st. So to start your review in January or December, we aren't actually changing anything because his contract's still going to go in effect May 1st. We're just starting a review on it sooner, correct?
But, and, you know,
And that would be, isn't that a judgment that the president could start a review under his proposal that, hey, I want to start a review for the manager in February so that we're done April 30th? Isn't that kind of an open-ended type thing he could do?
Yeah, generally, that's the way it's done. We know when the review time's coming up, so we can start it earlier.
Right, you could,
know?
as, I mean,
Yeah.
as a board or the
Yeah, I don't see
president
that,
could actually start the review anytime he wanted to.
but it must
correct?
be done by.
But it must be done by, correct,
correct,
by,
yeah.
So I don't see the need to make the change myself. Trustee Kazone?
Yeah, I agree, and the board, and we just, the board just has to make sure that we
Right.
get it right and get it done by the end of April. We can start, yeah, we can start in February, get all of our date, you know, have the village manager get his, info to us, and then we just make sure that it's done by the end of April.
Okay, anyone else? Trustee Wagner?
I'd like to, maybe if I could, ask the manager what he thinks of that change. Is that too cumbersome? And I know I'm putting you on the spot, but.
Do you want to answer that or not?
Well, that's fine, Your
Okay,
Honor.
go
Would
ahead.
you like me to?
Yeah, sure.
I'm not sure I'll answer, but I'll just kind of give everyone some background.
That's good.
Okay. So, August of every year, so this coming August of 2021, we'll start the budget process. And we won't finish the budget process until the budget has to be, I think, certified in DuPage County by the last Tuesday in December. And it's a tremendous amount of work, because it's not only the budget, but it's also the levy process, and it's also taking a look at the 5-year capital plan and discussions of, like we did tonight, water and sewer rates. That all goes into the capital plan as well. And one of the things I'm always asking Marlene is, where are we at? What are our ending balances in water? What are our ending balances in wastewater? Where are we at in the general fund? Because as most of you know, as a public entity, we lag behind the private sector by 90 days. And so when Marlene tells you this evening the revenues, expenditures, we lag behind by 90 days. And it's kind of weird, but that's just the way it is. And the numbers she'll tell you tonight, they're lagging when you compare them to 2020. But that time period, it's very stressful. But it doesn't mean we can't make it happen. And I'm willing to do that, not a problem. It's just that there's a lot going on from August till December.
Trustee Wagner?
If it's okay with Trustee Patrick, I would like to withdraw my motion.
Withdraw the second?
I withdraw the second.
Okay. Okay, we're back to the original. I cross off my little tally box. Okay. So the question before us is approving of the village manager contract of employment. Seeing no other questions, roll call vote.
Trustee Salella.
Yes.
Trustee Patrick.
Yes.
Trustee Wagner.
Yes.
Trustee Kazone.
Yes.
Trustee Tucker.
yes.
Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
And I got it, President Wolfus.
Yes. Okay, that passes. Now, our next one on the agenda is the public comments on non-agenda items. I'd like to move up number 17, which we would normally have a discussion on the police labor contract in executive session. But we've all received the information on the contract in our packets. So I'm trying to make this a little easier on our production booth, so they don't have to stay around here until whatever time we get done with executive session. So if everybody's okay with voting on the police labor contract, we can do that right now. Okay? So seeing everybody's shaking their head yes, then we'll do the successor labor agreement between the Village of Villa Park and the Illinois Fraternal Order of Police Labor Council. So do we have a motion to approve the successor labor agreement for the between the Village of Villa Park, Page County, Illinois, and the Fraternal Order of Police Labor Council effective May 1st, 2021 through April 30th, 2022. Do we have a motion? Trustee Patrick?
I'd like to make that motion.
Do we have a second?
A second.
Trustee Wagner?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, any questions? Apparently not. Yes.
I have one quick question. So this contract is only in effect until, once approved, until April 30th of next year. Was there an attempt to get a multi-year contract?
Manager Keener?
Thank you, Your Honor. The FOP, which is actually the sergeants, really wanted a one-year contract. There's a lot of things happening right now, and may I elaborate maybe a little bit, Your Honor?
We got all night.
So what's occurring right now is that the patrol officers have requested through the Illinois State Labor Relations Board to be represented by FOP instead of MAP. And so we've got that transition, which has been approved. So the tallies have been counted, and FOP will now represent the patrol officers as well as the sergeants. And so I feel like they just wanted a one-year contract just to get through a little bit of the COVID and to see what happens with the other unit. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. That's all I had.
Okay. Do you have a question?
I do have a question.
Oh, okay, go ahead, Trustee Tucker.
Did we not approve a contract for the police last year? Was that for the sergeants or 2 years ago? Seems, no?
We have
Okay.
issued for them.
Wasn't there some
Manager
type
Keener,
of?
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. The last contract for the sergeants was a 3-year, which ends April 30th, 2021.
Okay, so it was 3 years ago.
Yes, and then,
Okay.
Your Honor, and then the MAP agreement was a 3-year contract as well, which expires April 30th, 2021 as well.
Gotcha, thank you.
No other questions? Roll call vote, please.
Okay, Trustee Stalella?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
President Boltz?
And I too vote yes. So that passes, and we'll move back then to item number 11, which is public comments on non-agenda items. Clerk Kornecki, has anyone signed up ahead of time?
Yes, I think this is Maria Brunner about path connectors. Mary, okay, thank you, Mary.
My writing's in. Hello. I had a list.
Please state your name again.
Oh, my name is
and your
Mary Brunner,
address.
and I live at 512 East Wildwood Avenue.
Okay.
I had a list a mile long of things to talk to, and ding ding, this is the one I picked. It's about the connector path that there's proposed. I guess, last I heard, it was for 2023, so there's something that they're ahead of. They're taking care of surveying for, according to the gentleman that I asked, for this path going down Wildwood across from Ovaltine to connect to the Rotary Park and connect the other paths. I have a few questions, and I would like, and maybe you aren't going to be here, but whoever will be, maybe I'll ask it again. Questions that will come up and need to be thought of before something is done, and then it's a problem, and we're chasing our tails, just like moving AK mulch. It's a problem now for the residents in that neighborhood, and now we have to try and figure out how to fix it. How are they plan on stopping the traffic on Villa and Wildwood when they also have the path crossing down on one end? Now they want to have another path crossing down Wildwood. So they're going to have to stop that traffic somehow within 2 blocks on Villa. That might cause some traffic problems. I don't know if you've ever been there on a Saturday. There's a lot of cars on that road. They plan on putting a hockey field down in Rotary Park, or a soccer field, I guess I call it hockey field. A soccer field. Is this going to be something for tournaments, or is it going to be just for practice for kids and different teams? If they're going to have tournaments and use it, they're going to need parking. And where is that parking going to come from? Because parking is always a problem. And if you have a bunch of people there, now they're going to be parked down the streets and fighting with the trucks that are going to AK mulch on the weekends. And also, if this is going to be some sort of a soccer field that's going to be used by a lot of people for tournaments. It's going to have to be groomed, I suppose. And Wildwood Avenue and Rotary Park has flooded 4 times in the past 20 years. The most recent last year. The road's impassable, all the way from the Ovaltine entrance to almost down to the mulch place. These are things that need to be fixed and thought of before this is all done and it happens and we're chasing our tails again. Thank you very much for listening.
I think the trail is still under review, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So the trail is still being studied.
Yeah, they were surveying it all last week
Yeah,
and
yeah.
earlier this week. I asked
Yeah.
them
So
what they were surveying for, and that was it.
it's a while. Okay. Yep. So I don't know about a soccer field. Were we putting a soccer field there?
Your Honor, we were talking about to use the dry bottom
Yeah.
of the detention basin over there.
Oh, okay. Right. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know about the soccer field.
Got a
but-
copy of the proposal.
Really?
I give it to- I have other.
Okay. I'll take it. Just give it a push.
I think it's on the internet somewhere.
Well,
I got that from Mr. Wagner, thank you.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, anyone else sign up?
Yes, Kathy Halloran wants to talk about semi-trucks on Wildwood Avenue.
Okay, Kathy Halloran, 538 East Wildwood Avenue. I'm just going to comment on something I witnessed Saturday, April 17th at 9:30 in the morning as I was walking our dog, and I was up at the entrance of the Salt Creek Trail right across from AK Mulch, and I had my back to 83, and I looked out towards my house, and there's an 18-wheeler that comes out of AK Mulch that's heading west on Wildwood. At the same time, I can see through the empty lot on Monterey, there's another 18-wheeler coming down Monterey. At the same time, there is another 18-wheeler coming down on east on Wildwood. There, 3 semi-tractor trucks are stopped at that intersection. And the thought that comes into my head is, this is the Bermuda Triangle. And this is a residential neighborhood. This is my neighborhood. This is my neighborhood that I've lived in for 20 years. This is Rotary Park. That is not a park anymore. It used to be a baseball field where my sons played baseball. This used to be a playground where my children played. And this is what it's come down to. This is heartbreakingly sad. What makes it so sad is that the Villa Park residents are last. This resolution 2012 from last year, February 24th, 2020, is a complete streets policy. This is the same month that AK Mulch moved under the cover of night. There was no hearing. It skipped the Traffic and Safety Committee because Mary and I attended those meetings, and Mr. Wagner was taking the heat for this decision that nobody knew anything about. So the Traffic and Safety Committee was skipped. I don't know why. I don't even know why we have a Traffic and Safety Committee if this isn't going to be going before it. We went to Planning and Zoning Commission meetings. They were skipped. They were not included on this decision. There was one commissioner that questioned that. And then the chairman, Jason, commented, I'm not going to say who knew what when. You need to take it to the village board. Okay. So I have some ideas that I'm going to present next week or next meeting, really of how to put the residents first. That's truly what we need to do. This is a residential community. There's only like 27,000 residents. It's not that many. And I think that it's time that we come first. So this resolution 2020, I'm just going to read it a little bit because it's actually rather disturbing. Whereas the village recognizes the importance of a high-functioning and safe transportation system integrating vehicular, pedestrian, bicycle, transit, and rail traffic. Whereas the village believes, and I think this is the key line, it is in its own best interest to adopt a complete streets policy. Everything the village does is in its own best interest. It's not the village, it's not the residents. I'm not even going to read this because this is actually embarrassing. That this is from the Public Works Department Engineering Division. The mission statement, I've read it 100 times and I don't understand it. The Village of Villa Park will consider established best practice complete streets design elements when performing transportation planning efforts and project designs in order to facilitate a comprehensive and accommodating multimodal transportation network for our residents and visitors. This policy is a living document subject to change due to technical improvements in transportation engineering, but will retain a focus towards enhancing mobility for all transportation network users with an emphasis on safety, accessibility, connectivity, and wellness.
Thank you. Anyone else signed up?
I have no.
Anyone else from the public have any comments? Okay. We'll move to the clerk's report.
I have no report tonight, thank you.
We'll start on the right with trustee Patrick.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Just a couple of things. First of all, I would like to commend our Villa Park Police Department. It has been a busy week, and they have done an outstanding job responding to a lot of the incidents that have come up. And I think they've been very professional and have been doing an outstanding job. So thank you for that. Second of all, I would like to congratulate and welcome our newest elected trustees to the board, as well as thank our outgoing trustees for their continued commitment to the Village of Villa Park and helping make this a better place to live. So thank you all. That's all I have.
Trustee Cielo.
No report this evening.
Trustee Kazone.
The thing I have, the Community Pride Commission is meeting tomorrow at 5 o'clock up here in the Committee of the Whole room. Looking for commissioners on that board, that commission. We've only got 3, I believe. So if anyone's interested in working with the Community Pride, tomorrow at 5 o'clock, love to have you. Thank you.
Trustee Wagner.
Thank you, President Bultis. Just want to remind residents that Spring Sweep is coming up on May 15th. I'm sure it will be another very successful and well-attended event. It'll be from 9 a.m. until noon along Home Avenue. And I was lucky enough to get an actual physical copy. I know we're sending out electronic copies of the current Village Matters. And of course, Spring Sweep is featured there. And right next to Spring Sweep, there is a little article, and I don't know who wrote it, probably a staff member, I'm sure. It says, reduce single-use plastics. And it just talks about how you can reduce single-use plastics by not using them. Just, so pretty self-evident. But I just thought, I just appreciated that note, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Tucker.
I just want to thank all the residents of Villa Park for allowing me to represent them for the last 4 years. It was a pleasure to do that. And I wish the new board all the success as you continue on to represent the people of Villa Park.
Trustee Murphy.
Yes, I have 2 things this evening. I would like to congratulate our business owners over by Standard Meadery for their awesome implementation of their outdoor tables. It's really great over there now. It's a wonderful addition, and they did a super job in doing that. I would also like, if I could please, to ask for prayers for one of our Villa Park families. We have a young man, sophomore at Willowbrook. I believe his name is Owen Kingsbury. He is 16 years old, and as we speak, he is in the process of having a heart transplant. His heart was delivered tonight at 6 p.m. It's something that the family was anticipating, and they were notified just in the last couple days, and this has been in the progress of transpiring over the last couple days, but is happening as we speak. So if everyone would be kind enough to keep Owen Kingsbury and their family in their thoughts and prayers as they continue to move forward on this journey, we would certainly appreciate it, and so would the family. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Okay. We'll move to the President's report. I don't have much. I just want to give you an update on the COVID situation in DuPage County. As of yesterday, 32.8% of the population over 16 in DuPage County have been fully vaccinated, and that leads all the Cowell counties. But I do want to give a caution to the people who aren't following the rules with the mask and everything, because the #1 infection rate is for the 20 to 39-year-olds. So, you know, sometimes when you're 20 to 39, you think you're bulletproof or nothing's going to happen to you, but they are leading the infection rate group. And unfortunately, the ones behind them is the 0 to 19-year-olds. So it seems like the people 40 to 59 and 60 to 79 maybe got the message and got the vaccination. Maybe that numbers will go down on the 20 to 39s and the 19-year-olds when more of those individuals get vaccinated. So the county is receiving a lot more doses. This week they're getting 23,650 first dose. That doesn't count the second dose because they get those automatically, but the first dose, 23,650, and they're able to supply most of the organizations and groups and hospitals who are requesting vaccination material. So somewhat good news with the percentage that are fully vaccinated, but you know, it's still 32.8. We'd sure like to get that. It's a long way from the herd immunity number. So please, if you know, we have to have more people vaccinated for us to get back to what we call normal. So with that, we'll move on to the manager's report.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd just like to have Finance Director Scheibel come up and kind of give the board and folks in the audience and folks at home a quick briefing on the village's revenues and expenditures for the first few months of this fiscal year. Thank you, Your Honor.
As of March 21st, the general fund year-to-date revenues are $4,623,251, which is a decrease from March of 2020 of $264,158. The March 2021 year-to-date expenses are $3,863,200, which is also a decrease from March of 2020 of $780,848. So the difference between our year-to-date revenue over expenses as of March 2021 is $760,249, and that's an increase over March of 2020 year-to-date by $516,690. That's all I had.
Yeah.
Any questions? Or
Yeah, any board members have any questions you want to ask? Sounds pretty good, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think staff's been doing a nice job cutting expenses, so that's really helped a lot. And it had to be rather difficult to do that. So
Thank you.
Thank you for your work. Anything else?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay, with that, the next item on the agenda is executive session pursuant to the general provisions of the Open Meeting Act, 5 ILCS 120/2C1 and 120/120 20/2C2. I better read these. Sorry. C1 is personnel matters. C2 is collective bargaining matters. C5, which is purchase and lease of property. C6 is sale and lease of property. C11 is pending litigation. And C21, discussion of closed session minutes. Do we have a motion for executive session?
Make the motion.
Trustee Ciala? Trustee Wagner,
I'll
second?
second the motion.
Okay. We need a roll call vote on that. So, roll call vote?
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Silala?
Yes.
President Bolfus?
Yes. Okay, with that, we'll be going into executive session. We will not be coming back. So, Villa Park, have a nice week. Our next meeting is on May 10th. That'll be an abbreviated meeting because that's when we swear in the new trustees and president.